getting ready to introduce a lot more skincare related content here on my channel, and to kind of kick off the series and get us in the right place, I thought I would start off by telling you guys like the advice I would give my 20 something self, like pretty much me from like 17 to 24. I feel like that's when I had no concept of skincare. I was doing probably the most damage to my skin, and if I could just turn back the hands of time and talk to little Whitney, I would just give her an earful of all the crazy stuff she's doing. So I'm going to share with you the worst mistakes I made and a few things I kind of got right. 20-year-olds now got it made in the shade, because if I would have had YouTube and Instagram and like all this information at my disposal back then, things just would have been different for me. I just know it. Anyway, I hope you guys are excited about this video. I had a lot of fun making it. Please make sure you thumbs up the video if you enjoy it. That lets YouTube know that you like it. Also subscribe if you are not subscribed. I'm looking forward to hitting like 150,000 followers on here soon in the next couple months if my trajectory for my growth continues to be consistent. We might be there very soon, but I need your help to get there. Anyway, without any further ado, let's just get this party started. This is a chit chat get ready with me, so that means I will have a naked face in 3, 2, 1. Okay, you guys, I am tired today, like really sleepy. So I'm gonna try to keep it energetic, but we'll see what happens. I will list everything that I use in the order that I use it down below as always. So I'm getting ready to reintroduce more skincare related content on my channel. And I took about a year off of talking about skincare altogether because I was kind of on a journey of really eliminating unnecessary products and steps from my skin, because I have just been struggling with breakouts for entirely too long at this point, at least as far as I'm concerned. You guys have definitely heard me talk about my skincare struggles a time or two, and last year I went to a dermatologist and they had me on a very minimal regimen. It was literally cleansing, 2 treatments, moisturizer, and walk away. That was literally all I was supposed to do. So I was doing just a gentle cleanser, and then I would, during the day or when I was having a hormonal breakout, I was using Axum. And then at night, same thing, gentle cleanser. And instead of Axum, it was tretinoin, and then obviously moisturizing day and night. But that was it. And I saw such great results with my skin during that time. So I just didn't want to mess with it. I wanted to do what the doctor said, you know, doctor's orders, this, that, and the third. And I'm just now getting ready to start reintroducing skincare related content on my channel because I feel like I understand now a little better what I was doing wrong. And I will make more videos about what I've learned, what I'm using now, this, that, and the third moving forward. But today I just really wanted to talk about like skincare advice I would give, or beauty advice as a whole. I would give like my 20-something-year-old self, because if you're anything like me, you have really seen an evolution in your approach to beauty as a whole as you've gotten older. I'll be 35 next year, and my approach, my aesthetic, everything has changed. So I thought it would just be fun to talk about, and in the comment section down below, I would love for you guys to tell me the crazy stuff you used to do or believe surrounding your beauty routine or anything affecting your skin, because we just learned a lot. Social media has been a real blessing in that respect, I think. So I think the first bit of skincare advice I would give myself, or beauty advice in general I would give my 20-something-year-old self, is to stay out of the effing sun. Now, the majority of what I'm going to say in this video pertains to mistakes that I made, but this might be the one area that, while I was not perfect, I didn't do as bad as I could have done, like, in all fairness. I actually, like, if I had to tally up how much time I spent in tanning beds or in the sun, I probably would say it was only like cumulatively maybe like 7 or 8 months. Like, basically what would happen from about 2008 until about 2000 and early 11, so maybe more than 8 months, I guess, I would just spend a few months in the tanning bed every year. Not the whole year, but I would tan, oh God, I hate to even think about it, you know, a few months out of the year, spring and summer, things of that nature. But that was really it. Like, even when I was like in high school and middle school and stuff, like there might be tiny little stints where I got into laying out. Do you guys used to lay out? My mama and her friends used to be obsessed with laying out, dude. They would like take baby oil and put iodine in it and lay on the trampoline because it was black and it would reflect. Oh my God, such a nightmare. But like when I wasn't in the sun or in tanning beds, all the other times I was sunless tanning. Like, I think I started sunless tanning when I was like 17 or 18. And back then they were not well formulated compared to how they're formulated now. In fact, one of my really good friends, she's going to get so mad if she watches this video. Hey girl, she used to give me so much shit about my fake tan. She'd be like, girl, like, we need to get you a real tan. This is patchy and orange and like, it is not cute and this, that, and the third. And I was like, leave me alone. But what's funny about that is her and I would eventually, like years later, I've known her since I was like 17, years later would end up living in Vegas together. And she was a full-blown somebody, like out there in them pool parties, and they had a pool in the backyard. She was always out there, and oh my gosh. And I just wouldn't do it. Like, I would literally be in the house watching everyone have a pool party downstairs, refusing to go outside until the sun went down. And then one day, I'll never forget, as long as I live, this is after years of her telling me I needed to get out of the sun and hating on my damn fake tan. She just texted me out of the blue when I was at work, and she was like, you got anything in your little bag of tricks for wrinkles? And I was like, stay out of the sun. She was like, well, the damage is already done. What do you got? But yeah, from all of the skincare mistakes or beauty mistakes I made in my younger days, that is the one that, while I wasn't perfect, feel like I did all right. Actually, I guess there's another one I feel like I did okay with, but not perfect, and that was smoking. You guys, I've been doing a lot more research around skin in the past couple of weeks. In fact, I've been doing so much that I'm 90% sure at the end of the year I'm going to go to esthetician training, because I was actually going to do it last year. And I've told the story before, I believe, where I was like considering going back to school or going back to freelance artistry unless like something happened on social media, and then something did happen. I don't know why I felt like it had to be very one or the other. But at this point, I'm much more of the idea that like I can do both, and I think I want to do both. I want more of my street cred back, and I want to educate myself more on skin. I've been obsessed with skin for like the longest time. But anyway, I've been doing a lot of research about skin, particularly around like the worst things for your skin as it pertains to increasing or speeding up the aging process, I should say. And obviously sun is on there, but do you guys know that smoking is, I mean, it's obviously like common sense, right? Even as bad as we know smoking is for our health on the insides, and therefore it stands to reason that it wouldn't be that great for our health on the outside, I was still surprised to learn that it is like literally one of the worst things you can do for your skin. Drinking alcohol isn't far behind there. It's also really bad, which I'm going to touch on smoking and drinking together, because I feel like your 20s are kind of a more, I don't want to say everyone's like this, but I feel like most 20-year-olds I've met, that's when you're at the bar, at the club a little more, you're drinking, you're smoking. And for me, like, I did smoke for a time. I think it was only 2007 until 2009. So only about 2 years. And even then, I was never the type of person who like needed a cigarette in the way that like, if we're watching a movie or hanging out, we gotta pause a movie because I need to go get a cigarette. Like, I was never like that, but I smoked when I drank, and I was a bartender for most of my 20s, or at least my early 20s, and I drank at work, so I smoked. I also couldn't drive without smoking most of the time, particularly if I had like a long distance to go. And every time I think about the version of me who was like doing that, I'm just so angry with myself now, because I just didn't need to do it. Like, I truly did not need to do that. But yeah, partying in general, just, I mean, I kind of slowed down and cut that out almost completely around the time I was 25. It wasn't like I could do a whole lot of partying outside of work anyway. That's pretty much the only time I drank or smoked, was because like it was part of my job, you know what I mean? Yeah, outside of the fact that partying now would kill me, I just can't do it anymore. It's not really my thing, and it hasn't been for a really long time. Like I said, most of this stuff really only happened in my early 20s, and I snapped out of it around the time I hit 25, thank God. And all of the stuff I'm talking about also, if you're still doing any of the things I'm mentioning, like, it's not a big deal. We all have our own journey, but it's never too late to adopt a healthier lifestyle. And the reason that I'm talking about like alcohol and partying and stuff like that as a part of your skincare is because it is. I was listening to this podcast the other day with a dermatologist. It was on fat mascara, I think. And the dermatologist was talking about, I wish I could remember the word that she used. I'll put the word down here below. But apparently that is something that scientists and research is showing has one of the greater effects on the overall appearance and integrity of your skin over time. And this word basically encompasses your diet, your stress level, your physical activity, obviously your skincare, all that kind of stuff work in tandem to help your skin look better longer. And it's not the best news to hear in the world because, you know, I think so much of what we hear around skincare, particularly on social media, is just buy this product and your skin will be better. And while I do intend to do a lot of product focused videos on my channel moving forward around skincare, because it's really hard to talk about skincare items and preferences and things like that, or even ingredients, without being able to give you a product to kind of sink your teeth into. Buying something is just not always the answer. Overall, if you spend minimal money on skincare and just focus on your stress levels, your alcohol consumption, not smoking, eating really well, getting exercise, staying out of the sun. I can't remember if I said your stress levels, but those things are so much more important than buying. You could go buy the most expensive face cream on the market and neglect those other areas, and your skin will still look like shit in the long run. It just will. So another thing I wish I could go back in time and illuminate for my 20-year-old self is what my diet was. I know I just talked about all these different factors, and spoiler alert, those are the main things I'm going to talk about today. But my diet when I was younger was so bad, as I think it tends to be when you're young, because it can be. Like, you'll never have a 22-year-old's metabolism again. And I think we just kind of lean into our bad habits. And for most of us, our early 20s are like the first time in our lives that we got our own money, we're buying our own shit, we're gonna eat whatever we want, YOLO. But I hate thinking back on how bad I used to eat. Now, I don't eat perfectly now by any stretch of the imagination. It is definitely all about balance. It's really funny. My daughter the other day was telling me that like she wants to start eating healthier. Like, she wants to eat more fruits and vegetables like on her own. I was shocked because she likes junk food a whole lot, as do most kids. But one of the things I told her was like, the sooner you develop good eating habits, the better off you're going to be. Not only because your body needs that stuff, and nutrition is one of the most crucial things for your skin that I don't feel like a lot of people talk about. I mean, maybe they do, I don't know. I don't feel like if I watch a video from a beauty guru about skincare, they're ever talking about all the things I'm mentioning right now. Once again, it's usually, and not always, but it's usually a lot of like products and stuff like that. But once again, you can buy all the products in the world, but if you're not giving your body a balanced diet and cutting out as much processed food and sugar and things of that nature that you can, you're really not helping yourself. It's also really great if you can start eating better in your early 20s, because once all this stuff catches up to you and you can no longer eat like that anymore, it's just going to be easier to transition out of. For me, like every day, I'm just trying to eat the most nutritionally dense food that I possibly can, which is mostly comprised of greens. Like, I try to eat as many green things a day as I can. And if you only adhere to that rule, you will notice a huge change in your overall health as well as your skin, because green things are the most important. I'm going to do a video about beauty foods. People have been asking me to do videos about skincare and food and how they relate to each other, which I will get to. But green things being the most important. Healthy fats, lots of water, all that good stuff. Health and beauty at the end of the day are inextricably linked. Even from like an evolutionary standpoint, I don't know why this means evolutionary. I think it's my interpretive dance from like way back then. But even from like a prehistoric standpoint, the human eye looks at something beautiful and tends to register it for a handful of reasons. One is symmetry. Two is fertility, particularly from a man to a woman. They're looking for signs of fertility. And overall, like no matter what, being healthy is synonymous with being beautiful, because that also plays into fertility. Like from a primitive standpoint, you're not going to mate with someone who's not going to be there to help you raise your child or be there for the child, or could potentially pass on bad health to the child. So that's just like so deeply ingrained in us, and we don't even realize it. All of the qualities that we aspire to attain, that we buy products to mimic, long lashes, thick hair, glowy skin, all that stuff is indicative of abundance of health. So you can keep buying stuff to like paint it on, or you can cultivate that within yourself by making lifestyle choices that not only are going to improve the quality of your life for the long term, but also are going to make you hotter 100% of the time. So one of the next things I would definitely tell my 20-year-old self or my 20-something self is like, chill the hell out, particularly as it pertains to stress, if not exclusively to stress, because remember how I said there were certain factors that definitely contribute to premature aging, or at least signs of premature aging? Up there with smoking and alcohol and bad diet and sun exposure. I think I said stress was in there, didn't I? Stress is a huge contributing factor to your skin. Like, stress literally triggers a hormonal response in your body that is poison. And when I was in my 20s, like, I can't speak for you guys, or at least my early 20s, it was the most stressful time of my life because there was just so much going on. I had so many balls in the air, and I was not doing anything to help manage that. I was just surrounding myself with people who were really crappy. I mean, I was the architect of my own destruction in a lot of ways also, like, don't get it twisted. But there was also just a lot of people, a lot of situations in my life that I was tolerating. I can blame no one but myself for putting up with it. But obviously now as I've gotten older, there's just no way I would do such a thing. Like, if you're not improving upon my life, or at the very least, if you are actively bringing stress into it, like, you can just get on out from here. Like, I have no time, patience, or energy for it. But on top of the fact that I was keeping myself in extremely stressful situations, I was doing absolutely nothing to manage the stress or to try to deal with it. I was a big, like, if I had a lot of stress or a lot of things on my mind, or if I was upset, I wasn't going to deal with the things that were making me upset or causing me stress. I was just going to put more things on my plate to try to distract me from it. And so bad. Don't recommend it at all. And I'm not trying to hate on our patron saint Britney Spears, but I kind of feel like she's a really good example. Bless her heart. Poor Britney. She's a really good example of what stress, I think, and probably sun exposure too, because I remember her being a really big tanner, like a unapologetic tanner, sun bunny status. But I'm willing to bet her huge amount of stress that she has had to deal with in her life has contributed a lot to what I consider pretty aggressive aging on her part. And like, literally, I'm sure aging and things like that are the least of Britney Spears' concerns at this juncture. But I'm just saying, like, if I had to give an example of what I mean when I say stress and lifestyle choices and factors like that have a lot to do with the integrity and health of your skin over time, she would be like a very good example of that. Poor Britney. Bless her heart. Free Britney! I see it a lot. I mean, I'm just using Britney as an example because she's someone we all know, but I see this a lot in people that I know from high school or I used to run with when I was in my early 20s, and I can tell which people kind of took their health and their healthy living into their own hands based solely on what their skin looks like at this point, because we're all roughly the same age, you know, and not that I'm like so amazing looking, but I feel like I'm holding it together pretty well for almost being 35. Like, I literally, and this isn't a bragging point, this is just the truth, I don't have like really any wrinkles. I'm just now starting to get a little bit here underneath my eye and in my crow's feet area. But outside of that, I don't really have that. Now, my signs of aging is like my skin is starting to sag, particularly once I lose weight, which is what I've been going through for a while. But in terms of the texture of my skin, like, it's in pretty good condition. And I attribute most of that to the fact that I made some pretty good decisions later in my 20s, but early 20s, not so much. As I said before, some people just don't ever stop doing some of the things I'm mentioning, and that's fine. Like, life is too short. Do what you want to do. But if skin is important to you, you need to be taking into account everything I've mentioned, and that definitely includes stress. And I definitely feel like stress is one of those things that there is no one thing you can do to improve upon it. You probably need to look into meditation, get into therapy, purge your life of stressful things. Exercising regularly, also really good for your skin. really, really good for your skin, but that helps with stress a lot as well. So I know most of this video has been talking more about lifestyle changes and things of that nature. And don't get me wrong, I truly believe that in all the skincare content that I have coming up that I'm working on, I think I consider this video and this perspective and this advice to be not only the advice I'm the most qualified to give, because truth be told, I think YouTube and things like that are an amazing, amazing resource to kind of lay the groundwork for a skincare journey and kind of figure out where to start, maybe get an idea of where you really are. But one thing you're going to hear me say a lot in my skincare content coming up is like, go to a dermatologist, go to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Ultimately, there's a lot of really great information out there, but nothing is a substitute, particularly if you're having active issues. So like acne, dark spots, things that you're spending a crap ton of money already trying to fix on over-the-counter treatments and products and things like that. Go to a friggin' dermatologist. But I feel like not only am I more qualified to give this advice, but it's just the most important. But even though the majority of the advice that I have given is lifestyle based, there are still some skincare follies that I made in my 20s. And these actually went on way longer than just my early 20s. These kind of extended into my late 20s. But as a whole, I had a really weird idea of what skincare was and what it was for in my early 20s. Now, that could have a lot to do with budgetary constraints that I had, in that if I was going to spend money on a beauty product, it wasn't a beauty product to clear a breakout, it was to cover it in the form of makeup. Like, I wasn't investing in that whatsoever. But, you know, like I said, I wanted to give myself credit if I did anything right. One thing I did right and I've done for, or two things I did right and that I've done right for a long time. A is wear sunglasses. I've been an avid sunglass wearer since I was like 19. So still to this day, like, I pretty much will not leave the house without sunglasses. It's mostly a dependency issue now. Like, I've been wearing them for so long that like I can't really drive. I can't really see outside without them. But even when it's kind of cloudy, I still wear them. Now, I haven't looked into this. This is just an assumption, but I kind of think one of the reasons, and it could also be genetic and a myriad other things, but one of the reasons my under eyes are still as smooth as they are, and like I said, I am developing a little bit of fine lines around my eyes that's just now starting. I think one of the reasons that I've had them be so smooth and without a lot of signs of aging is because I've been wearing sunglasses for so long. Like, they were an added level of protection around my eye area, obviously, but on top of that, I've spent almost no time in my life squinting. Like, I've not been making this face for years because I've been so dedicated to my sunglasses, like obsessed would be putting it mildly. Another thing that I've always been really good about, even in my early 20s, is moisturizing. That's another thing that I think has contributed to my skin aging as well as it has. I can only assume. Once again, I don't know for sure, but I think that is because I didn't know about makeup primers back then. You know, I can't stress enough how I came from a different time and place. Like, if you're really young and you've always had social media to help you inform your beauty choices and your product choices and your techniques around makeup, we didn't have that when I was coming up, and I just had to kind of test things out. And I figured out pretty early on that moisturizing my skin before I did makeup made a really big difference, not only in how my makeup wore throughout the day, but it almost became like Pavlovian. Like, I had to. So I would wash my face every time I did my makeup, and I had to do moisturizer. So that was probably the only consistently good skincare habit that I had in my early 20s in particular. But like, don't let me get too high on my own supply. I definitely made some huge skincare mistakes in my 20s. The first is, and I think we might have all gone through this, but I was kind of like known for this. I would go to sleep without taking my makeup off 90 times out of 100. It was so bad. So not only was I consistently going to sleep at night, almost every night, I'm not even kidding. I think the only nights that I didn't go to sleep without makeup on were nights that I didn't wear makeup. It was so bad. But I was going to sleep with my makeup on pretty much almost every night. And then on top of everything else, I was, as I said before, a bartender. And I was also a waitress. So I had jobs where I was like hustling and sweating. So I was just going to bed every night with like dirt and debris and oil and gunk and goo and makeup on my face. Like, but you know what's unfair about that? I never broke out. Even still, like, my breakouts didn't start until around the time I quit doing those jobs, which was so interesting. I didn't break out in high school. It's just all of that stuff showed up on me later in life. So I bet in a way, had my skin been worse for the majority of my like teens and 20s, I probably would have just naturally developed better skincare habits. So if you have troubled skin, at least take comfort in the fact that in a way, like having bad skin teaches you to have good skin. Because if you're not worried about it, if it's not giving you any issues, you're probably not babying it or taking care of it at all. I used to just also have like a really strange attitude towards skincare. As I said before, when I didn't have the money, if I had a beauty concern, the solution was always just to cover it up. I didn't have the time, energy, patience, or wisdom to know that you're way better off just trying to improve upon what you naturally have. It's a big reason why I use lash growing serums now, and I'm trying to stop. No, I'm not trying. I have successfully stopped using hair extensions altogether because I'm just trying to take care of what I have instead of trying to create something that I don't. It's a way better use of time and money, in my opinion. But yeah, I vividly remember, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, I think I was around 23, 22, 23, 24, somewhere in there. I remember I was either watching a skincare commercial on TV or I was reading an article about skincare in like a magazine or something. But I vividly remember having the narrative in my head that I was like, oh, well, if my skin's bad, I'll just cover it up with makeup. And that seemed like the logical, golly. It truly seemed like the logical stance to take around skincare, which is just nuts, dude. Like, why? But I say all this to say, like, skincare is truly a journey. And where I am now, I feel like I have a better grasp and understanding of my skin because I've been through so much and tried so many things and learned so much about it. I'm actually going to turn the camera off and do my lipstick and my hair, and I'll be back to wrap all this up with you guys. All right, you guys, this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like my hair and you want to see a hair tutorial, I did have to turn the camera off to film this hair tutorial. So I'm being like the ultimate hardworking lazy YouTuber today. I'm trying to get as much filming done as one day, but I'm not willing to like put on a cute outfit or do anything super interesting by way of the overall aesthetic of this video. So whatever, I'm tired. I'm literally going to turn the camera off and go to the friggin' spa. I am struggling. But anyway, as always, thank you to the patrons. I hope you guys come and hang out with me on Patreon this month. We have some pretty cool stuff going on over there. I think that we are going to do a reacting to skincare videos on Patreon from now on. I would put them on YouTube, but like people get so sensitive and you know how it is. So I think I'm going to do a reacting to Desi Perkins. The only skincare routine that I can find of hers that is recent is going to go over there on YouTube, on Patreon this month. And then I think I'll be doing the last true crime and makeup time video for a while over there this month. And as usual, we have a giveaway, and I think I'm going to start adding a video newsletter on Patreon where I can kind of have the State of the Union, talk to you guys, tell you what's on my mind and on my heart. I love Patreon. I love the live streams. You guys have heard me say it 1,000,001 times. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are ready for more skincare related content coming up very, very soon. If you're excited about it, hit thumbs up, comment down below what your biggest skincare and beauty follies of your 20s or any younger age of yours that you are particularly inclined to share with me down in the comments below. I'm excited to hear it. In the meantime, check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, and I'll catch you in the next one.